Today we will try and paint an accurate picture of the universe based on the Lambda cold dark matter model, which is the best cosmological model today. Once we have painted that picture, the answers to our questions will be straightforward. Let's assert that some kind of space-time quantum foam sort of something existed before our own universe began, before our Big Bang. And then we simply let Heisenberg's uncertainty principle go to work for us. If we look at the tiniest speck allowed by quantum mechanics, a small volume with a Planck length as its linear scale, the speck would have a volume of 10 to the minus 99 cubic centimeters. And the largest amount of mass, or energy, that we could put in this volume, without it becoming its own black hole, is about 1/100,000th of a gram. Interestingly, the uncertainty principle allows this much stuff to be created out of nothing for as long as 10 to the minus 43 seconds. Not a very long time, but it will prove to be enough. Because if that much energy is created in the form of a certain type of scalar field, then we have just successfully created a universe. The best model of how our early universe grew after that initial quantum fluctuation created it includes inflation, a period when the scalar field divides space into a brief period of extreme exponential expansion. During inflation, space erupted from its tiny beginnings into an unknowably huge volume. This enormous expansion generated an enormous amount of gravitational binding energy, at least 10 to the 85th grams. And this was counterbalanced by a corresponding group of positive energy in the scalar field. What began as a mere fraction of a gram of energy has now become 10 to the 85th grams. This is a huge number, large enough to account for all the matter and energy that exists today.
There you go. Here's how your universe came to be. All you have to do is assert that there was some space foam type something or other, and you take Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and throw it in there, and you got the universe, man. I mean, it only takes 10 to the minus 43rd seconds, which is enough time for that to explode and become everything that we have today. Makes perfect sense, completely scientifically logical. I just took a world religions class, and the world religions class said that the problems with creation, with cosmology, with any of them, is that we don't know what happened before our universe began, yet they say they timed the Big Bang all the way back to like fractions of a second to when it happened. But they don't know how it happened. They even said that in this class. We don't know how it happened. They're telling you right here that what we think before our Big Bang was there was this some kind of face foam stuff. And they want to believe in that, and we've got the God of the Bible, the history book of the universe, and he's proven himself through prophecy, through archaeology, through all kinds of things, and they say we have blind faith? Folks, they're deceived. They're deceived, and they're going to hell with that belief. This is the best, folks. This is the best they've got. This is the most up-to-date thing they've got. But what do we got? What proof do we have of the Bible? Like I said, I'm going to redo maps a little bit. What are our creationist proofs? The empirical evidence for trusting the Bible, the stuff we can look at. The manuscript evidence I talked about last week. The archaeological evidence. The prophetic evidence with the statistics. I wanted to show you a little diagram this week to let you see just a little picture of the other works of history, the manuscript evidence we have. You can go to carm.org and look this up yourself. But let's just say just the bottom two, Homer, the number one. You see, most of them only have 2 to 10, 20 copies of everything else, maybe 193. Homer, the number one outside of the New Testament. And we're not even going to get into the Old Testament and all the fractions, just the actual complete testaments. Homer's Iliad, complete copies. They have 643. They're about 500 years part, the newest manuscript they have, the most recent manuscript, is about 500 years after the original autograph, the original writing. It's about 95% accurate in everything that's written, and nobody doubts that the Iliad was written by Homer or what he was trying to say. The Bible, on the other hand, the New Testament alone, was written between AD 50 and AD 100 within the lives of the apostles, and the last about AD 91 we're guessing for the Revelation. And the first manuscript copies we have are AD 125. We have less than 100 years between all the manuscripts, between the original autographs and the manuscripts we have. And we have 5,600 complete copies of the New Testament alone. And they're 99.5% accurate with little tiny grammatical things that don't change the message at all. The Bible stands alone, unlike anything in history. These are the best the world has to offer for manuscript evidence. If you don't trust the Bible as being what it said it was written, at least the manuscript evidence, then you can't believe anything else, because none of them even come close. So toss it out, toss out everything else. Here's a little thing, I'm not even going to play this skit, this little slide. All that really was dealing with there was those prophecies. I was going to show you the prophecies done by their numbers, how many we actually have. And I'm going to read in a bit what the statistics are for the odds of Jesus fulfilling those prophecies. What we had was a little list. It was a little scroll. You wouldn't have seen the verses really, but it just shows the verses that prophesied about Jesus and then the verses that fulfilled that prophecy. You can pick it up on YouTube. This guy listed just 60 of them. We know there's about 300 of them that Jesus fulfilled specifically. That anyone who could fulfill those prophecies like Jesus did is overwhelming, so far beyond anything we could even calculate. It's not even worth talking about. But we'll show you how it looks. I'll read it off to you here in just a second. First, let's look at some of the archaeological statements from the archaeologists. What they say about when we dig up things out of the Bible lands, the cities, the towns, the manuscripts, the things that they pull out of the ground and show if they're accurate with what the Bible says. On the whole, however, archaeological work has unquestionably strengthened confidence in the reliability of the scriptural record. More than one archaeologist has found this respect for the Bible increased by the experience of excavation in Palestine. Archaeology has in many cases refuted the view of modern critics. It's shown in a number of instances that these views rest on false assumptions and unreal artificial schemes of historical development. This is a real contribution and not to be minimized. The reader may rest assured that nothing has been found by archaeologists to disturb a reasonable faith, and thus nothing has been discovered which can disprove a single theological doctrine. We no longer trouble ourselves with attempts to harmonize religion and science, or to quote-unquote prove the Bible. The Bible can stand for itself. I set out to look for truth on the borderland where Greece and Asia meet, and found it there. You may press the words of Luke in a degree beyond any other historians, and they stand the keenest scrutiny and the hardest treatment. This is from Sir William Ramsay. He was an eminent archaeologist who changed his mind regarding Luke after extensive study in the field. In other words, Sir William Ramsay went out as a famed archaeologist and tried to say the Bible is full of a bunch of garbage. It's not true. I don't think Luke had it right. And he went out and did digs and pulled up the archaeological proof and showed, wow, Luke was right on the money. Everything he said was true. Luke, he even says in another quote, is what should be considered one of the most eminent historians in history, not just a Bible writer, but incredibly accurate with his historical writings. Archaeology leaves us nothing to fear about the truth of the gospel. So what did I say that we had those statistics for the prophecy? As we get to the prophecy and statistics, I'm just going to read this to you, and it's big. I don't expect you to be able to see it. I want to read through the whole thing. Space, by some authorities, is supposed to extend in all directions to the distance, not of 1,500,000 light years, but more than 4,000 times that far, or 6 billion light years. Let us make a solid ball of electrons, extending in all directions from the Earth the distance of 6 billion light years. Have we used up 10 to the 157 electrons? That is what we're looking at. 48 prophecies of Jesus Christ. 48, not 300, just 48 of the prophecies of Jesus Christ. For that to line up, for those prophecies to be fulfilled in one man, is 10 to the 157th power. That is what it's like. Now,